What's up, guys? Welcome to Starting on Cinemas. That's Cinemas with an S. And today I'll be giving you my review of Thor: The Dark World. Now, before I begin, if you're new to this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and leave a comment on the section below. And most importantly, watch me. Now, let's get started. Thor: The Dark World. I know what you're thinking. You expect me to call this a bad movie, but just listen to this carefully, because I know these fans don't really appreciate Thor: The Dark World as much as every other film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But watch, please. Thor: The Dark World centers on the ancient times. The gods of Asgard fought and won a war against an evil race known as the Dark Elves. The survivors were neutralized, and their ultimate weapon, the Aether, which is really a red liquid in the reality stone that turns your imagination into a reality. But in this case, it just brings darkness. So anyway, this ether, this liquid of infinite destruction was buried in a secret location in a tomb. Hundreds of years later, it's being found by Jane Foster, who becomes the host of this ether, forcing Thor to bring her to Asgard before Dark Elf Malekith captures her and uses the weapon to destroy the 9 realms, including Earth. Now, the story of Thor: The Dark World. Every film franchise has their weakest link. And Thor: The Dark World is like that weakest link. This movie is considered the weakest entry in the Marvel Cinematic Universe by far. It's so weak, this makes Captain Marvel by comparison feel like a better film. But this is the movie that introduces us to the reality stone, aka the ether. Like I said, it's the red stone. The movie as a whole, it's not all bad. There are some good parts. Like Thor: The Dark World kept its continuity from the Avengers, of course. That's important. If there's one thing that's important in this franchise, is continuity, because that's what keeps everything together. That's what ties everything together. It gave us a threat that was seemingly dire, that it forced the god of thunder to team up with his treacherous brother Loki. But the one thing I will point out that I loved in this movie was the comedy. I'll say this has some of the strongest comedy in phase 2 of the MCU besides Ant-Man. Thor: The Dark World once again made us believe that Loki was dead, but we know how that turned out. And I also want to point out that I love the use of the slow-mo cinematography in some scenes. The slow-mo shots. The cinematography is like how the camera flows throughout certain scenes. In the movie, as we know, it all sets up Guardians of the Galaxy. As far as the characters go, there aren't a lot of changes in Thor's character, because since most of his growth resided in his previous solo outing. Because y'all remember, right? His first movie, he was an arrogant but ruthless and a dangerous king, so-called king. He was supposed to be coronated on that day, but then the frost giants happened. He responded with brutality, and because of that, his father banished him and exiled him to Earth, thus changing who he is as a character with the help of Jane Foster. And speaking of which, Jane Foster plays a bigger role in this one for being the first host to carry the ether inside her. And she's also going to return. Now, if you're a huge, like I said, if you're a huge MCU fan, if you follow these movies just as much as I do, you already know this. But for those of you who don't, she is going to return in phase 4 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe with Thor: Love and Thunder, where the king must find their queen, where Jane Foster is going to become Lady Thor, where she wields Mjolnir. It is going to happen. The other supporting characters like Eric Selvig and Darcy Lewis, who's also going to return in WandaVision. I'm talking about Darcy. They're funnier in this one too, and Loki is still kind of treacherous in this one, until Thor is kind enough to let his guard down for his brother, which encouraged him to put his life on the line to help save the 9 realms. Now, this is probably my guess on why this movie gets all the hate it does, but the villain, the antagonist, Malekith. If I hadn't said this already, I'm going to say it again. The Marvel Cinematic Universe used to be criticized for the way they use their villains, as being plain and basic and average and one-dimensional and all this other stuff. They care about world domination with no logical reasoning behind it. All Malekith wants is to bring darkness to the universe for whatsoever reason. But ironically, lightning will always outshine the darkness. Rotten Tomatoes gives it a 66% score. Now, Thor the Dark World isn't without its flaws, but it is hilarious in some ways. The villain could have been better, and it offers some world building with its post-credit scene. So I'll give it that, and I'll give it 7 SOs out of 10. Now that is my review on Thor the Dark World. Now even if you hated Thor the Dark World, or if you like it, you can just let me know how you feel about it in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys later with my next video. Bye.